Excuse the noise in the background, that's just my dishwasher running. So I'm gonna start another new project here, another Atlas. This one is a N Scale U23B for Western Pacific. I have two of these actually. I have the 2254, which has just got a regular Digitrax decoder in it. But we're going to do the 2261, which I've already started to disassemble. Had a Digitrax decoder in it, which I popped out here. One thing I've noticed with Digitrax decoders and Atlas is they tend to run a lot slower for some reason. Even if I adjust my CVs to try to get a little more voltage to get them to move, they often run a lot slower than my Katos, my Fox Valley, my other engines. So putting a ESU Lok Sound decoder tends to get them back up to snuff. I've done a couple of these now, or a few of these, and that's my plan with this one here. Now this is a Kato ready one. This is the 58741, and again, I've had people ask why not to use the Atlas one that drops in there. I think the Atlas ones, because I've done a couple, are a little longer also. And if you notice, this is a four-axle unit, so we got a little shorter frame, some limited space to work with, as opposed to a six-axle version. So I'm also going to install a speaker from Streamline Backshop, which these things are nice. They're fairly cheap. They're about a little over about $8. They're nice and narrow. Will fit in here. Nice, and the best of all is they're very loud. They put out really great volume. So I've already kind of marked off what I'm going to machine here on the back with the with a Sharpie. So I'm going to shave off a little bit on the right side of the frame here, so that I have room, a little more room to put the speaker. And then of course I'm going to shave off the top here with my Dremel tool and basically set the decoder on top here. I'll probably just tape it down like I've done with my other Atlas models, and then hardwire the motor to the board. And I might see how bright just the stock LED is. I'm going to set this as far forward as possible. That'll also give me room to put the speaker. And then I will probably definitely be soldering external LED that they supply. I set those somewhere. Oh, here they are. The LEDs here for the rear headlight. And then if the stock one there isn't going to be bright enough, then I'll solder one on the front too. Excuse me. So that's kind of my plan there. Yeah, if I just do the speaker here with the rear headlight, the stock one, it's probably not going to get enough light over to the light pipe inside the shell here. While I got this here, I'll just show you some of my freight cars I've been working on. I've had this BN caboose for a long time. I picked up another one at the train show here a couple months ago. It was identical. I think this is I think these are Atlas cabooses, and the other one, the BN logo, is a little bit bigger. This one I already wired up a Fred, which I just soldered a micro LED to turn on some light here. I soldered a micro LED to it, and got it basically glued to the coupler. And then I have a Digitrax, I think it's a TL1 single function decoder. And my pickups on this one, I just wrapped wire around one wheel set. And of course the wheel sets are insulated on one side, so I had to make sure that the insulation side is opposite, so we get voltage from both sides. And I just wrapped it around the wheels there nice and tight. Works pretty well. And you get a few flickers here and there while it's in motion, but I did some weathering on it with oils, some acrylics, added some graffiti, and I still have the cupola window masked off. I did plate over the other windows, and I'm going kind of by prototype photos, like this one right here that I found of this specific caboose. Let me get close up here. And utilizing the weathering on the roof there and the sides, and it's got some graffiti on there, so trying to make it look semi to that, not exact. So this is the other side here. I still going to do a little bit more of a wash just to make the decals look like they've been on there for a little longer than one day, since they're pretty clean. And then there's the roof there, using different oils, or correction, acrylics, different colors, about 4 different colors on there to simulate the rust. I have another one here. It's a BNSF one that I also plated over the windows. Did a little bit of light rust on the roof. This one looks like it's been repainted, so I'm going to keep it fairly clean. But I wanted to looking at prototype photos, most of these that are still in service, they plated over these side windows there. Now I got a couple tank cars. These are MDC roundhouse diesel fuel tank cars, and kind of saw on another fella's video how to kind of make the primer, yellow primer, kind of show from on the top, from the paint being blistered from, you know, extreme sun. So I was using sponges. I've got a yellow that I was using to simulate the paint being blistered off, and then used I don't know, it's probably brown oxide or burnt sienna or something with a sponge to simulate the rust on the top. And I used oil-based black to simulate some spillage there. It's kind of shiny. So still kind of working on these. Not quite done with them yet, but it's an idea what they look like there. So we're going to go take the rest of this frame apart here, pull the motor out, bolt it on there, slap it on my Dremel tool, and we're going to shave off some metal here and get her cleaned up, and then we'll start putting the decoder on top of it, doing some wiring and stuff. See if we get this sucker running today. Alright, got it in my vise here, and to check to see if it's level, I'm going up because my table's not quite level, going off my mini level here at the bubble, about the same spot. Give it a shot here. We're going to shave off this little section right here, and then we'll go to the middle. Okay. Let's zoom it in here. Got it all fairly same level as that there. We'll file it down, and the speaker should have a little more room there. I got to set it up for the top part here. My bumper here. I've been just kind of shaving off little rows at a time, taking it nice and slow. I'll start from over here. All right, let me back it out here. Alright, I'm going to pull that out, wash it off, size it up, see if that's enough or if I need to take some more. Actually, I'm going to shave a little bit more off just to give me some room. Okay, that should be enough. We'll pull it apart here, file it, wash it off here. I think we got enough taken off there to fit that decoder board on top. The two halves have been filed down, the sharp edges here where we machined, and washed off with a toothbrush, some warm water, and some soap. So next step is to reinstall the motor and the trucks here and reassemble and then start getting it ready to slap the decoder on top. So we'll start putting that together right now. Alright, so I have the motor back in as well as the gears, and I've soldered a couple of wires that I trimmed. They give you, I don't know, 3 inches or more of wire here for the speaker, which is more than enough that I need for this one. So I trimmed off just under 1 inch, soldered those to the motor pickups, and so I marked with a Sharpie about where the headlight pipe begins excuse me, for the headlight, and to where I can place the decoder as far forward as I can. That way I have optimal light to the light pipe using the stock LED, but also have room to shove that speaker in there. So I'm going to go ahead and try fitting without the board, just the speaker, make sure that I've got enough room to seat that shell. That's one thing I've had problems with is the back end not seating completely flush, and so often my coupler height is a little bit off, which can pose some problems, and I've kind of dealt with it as is. I don't know, I'd have to do more machining on the frame, but I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to everything being prototypical and all that. So anyway, I'm going to try see if that fits on there, and if it does, we'll start taping down the board and soldering the motor leads to the board, and then we'll reinstall the copper pickup leads for the trucks on the side, and I'm going to solder thin wires from there to the output on the decoder, or correction, the input tabs, and tape it down, and then we'll solder on the LED, get the speaker soldered, and then throw it on the programmer. Alrighty, we have the board mounted, taped down roughly. I got to trim it because some of the tape's kind of touching the flywheels there. Speaker is taped down and soldered. I did put it on the shell to make sure the speaker would clear. It seemed everything was fitting nice and snug. I also have the wires to the motor also wired up there. And so next step is to solder some very thin wires that I have from some 402 LEDs, some extras that will solder down to the copper pickups here. And then put on the LED, rear LED. I'm kind of limited on space here, running any extra LED leads over, so I think I'm going to trim and run separate wires. It's going to be a little tough because I've got my speaker wires kind of in the way. I guess I should have done that first. So anyway, that's the next step. Pickup wires and the rear LED. Okay, the pickup leads are soldered to the board here, and then I went ahead and soldered on a, it's not a 402, it's a little bit larger than a 402, but nevertheless to say, it's a small micro LED that's going to be on the rear just because of lack of space. The wires that come with these are real thin, so they're nice in tight situations. I did actually use some of the wire here to solder from the pickup leads up to the board. So I'm basically ready to put the wheels on and get her on the program track. I think I'm going to put the shell on. Let's see, we'll put the shell on. I'm going to do it off the camera in case I have issues here. But get the shell on, and then we'll pop the wheels on. And then I'm going to go grab the program track, plug that into my laptop here, and find a file for it, and see if we can make this thing work. So here it is, just about finished, taped down, wires all hooked up and everything. Just need to put the trucks on and see if we've got some service. Okay, be back in a minute. Alrighty, so we've got everything all wired up here. I just did a little test run. It's already programmed. Haven't put the shell back on yet, but I just wanted to show you the file that I downloaded for this specific unit. Is the GE 12-7FDL12F8, and it covers the U23B. This is a U25B. Nope, U23B. I was right. The WP unit here, and made some adjustments in my settings. I should point out I have the LED on the back here. So let's do a little test run and see what it sounds like with the shell. Well, you know what? I'm going to put the shell on. I'll come back in a second. We'll do the sound. Alright, so I brought the camera down a little bit lower so you can see the headlight here. So let's give it a whirl here, see what she sounds like. Headlights on, a tip dimmer. Dims down. Now this is the stock LED on the board. I have not added an additional one like I normally do. I'm going to just leave it as is. It's pretty bright, or bright enough. I doubt this is going to be a lead engine most of the time, probably trailing. But let's go ahead and give it a little bit of throttle here. A lot of whoops on my test track. Obviously some dirty track here, but we can see we've got some movement here. So we'll go ahead and get it back on the thing there and hit some of the other sounds on here. Got the bell. Alright, I'm going to flip it around so you can see the tail headlight. There's our tail light. I got it in reverse right now. Also have it wired up to dimmer. Alright, got her wired up there. So looking good. Next step is to put her on the track and let her run some laps. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one here. This one went pretty smooth. Been working on this for a couple hours. Nothing too crazy. A little machine work. And hopefully you enjoyed this, or you learned something, or maybe gave you some ideas and kind of doing a custom install yourself on your own stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching.